Reggy, welcome back.
Welcome. Here we are again, or still. We've been in this cabin for months now. I mean,
it's not a bad thought actually. I would love it here in the northern regions of Italy, in the Alps. But no, it's still the same 3 days. We still prepared those episodes for you. It's still November of 2024. But we have another topic which will definitely ruffle some feathers. It could get very emotional because it's a topic that we both are very emotional about. And it is testing versus showboating.
yes.
Yeah, because as you can imagine, we see the latter quite a lot in the detailing industry. And we give you a bit of context and a very recent, is it a recent example, the ONR? It was this year. Let's say it was this year. So, rinseless washes. As long as we can think about rinseless washes, there has always been this argument that rinseless wash products encapsulate dirt and therefore carefully and without damaging the paint remove them from it, right?
Yes.
It's always been this encapsulating argument, and we already never understood it because you cannot really see it. And I have huge respect for a brand trying to make it visible, and that was a good attempt at it, but it was just an attempt. Now, ONR, which was, I think, the originator of rinseless wash, presented a video on their channel this year showing that they had two different products, ONR on the one side and another one on the other side. The other one was absolutely, obviously, P&S Absolute. They sticked up the label, but you could still see it, which is already a bit questionable, but okay. So, and then they put dirt into the glasses, and there you could see that in the glass where the ONR is, the dirt sank to the bottom, and on the bottom there was dirt, water, clear water, and the blue liquid where the ONR is in was on top. And they said this shows encapsulation. And we both looked at that video and said to ourselves, really? Does it really show encapsulation?
Separation, yes.
Separation, that's what it showed. And we, because we're both not chemists, we talked with many chemists, and every single one of them told us it's separation, you see. And I don't know if it was Giacomo or anyone else who recommended to me, do the same experiment with just olive oil and water. And I did that. I took dirty water, I put dirt in water, shook it up, added olive oil, shook it up, and what happened was exactly the same thing. I had dirt at the bottom with the water, and the olive oil was swimming on top. It's the same thing. It's separation. And that got us thinking, and that led to this episode where we want to talk about proper testing and showing what your products can do versus showboating. There will be another very good example of this later in this episode, but let's start with that. What is proper testing and what is just showboating? Trying to fool us into thinking that what we just saw is actually what happens. And I will be rather provocative now, aggressive towards you, because I can remember that you guys, Labocosmetica, presented a video in which you tried to show that Purifica, your acidic shampoo, actually works and works better than others. You did not show the other products. You did not name them. You did it a bit more elegant.
Not necessary.
And what you did was you put the solutions in different glasses, and then you dropped calcium tablets in there to show the reaction. Now, my question to you is that also just showboating, or was that a proper test to show what acidic shampoos and especially yours can do?
Well, you have to understand first that in that video clearly is stated to show that in many dilutions, different dilution, when coming in contact with the specified contamination, in this case inorganic contamination in the form of minerals, will then be still be acidic. So you see clearly in the videos that there is a chemical reaction. If there's only water, the pH level rises.
There was a reaction, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what you show is that if you, of course, we don't have that amount of calcium on the car, but
Yes.
we show you that if a contamination comes, there's always a chemical reaction. The pH level is going to rise. So if you have a product that comes into contact with anything on the car, it immediately starts to neutralize and loses its acidic power. What you see in that video is clearly that those products jump to an alkaline pH, what then means that they cannot be a decontamination shampoo anymore.
You talk about the other products.
The other products, yeah.
Yeah.
And we did it because in the beginning we immediately saw something that I said, well, wait a second, we got this, we got all the products in water, the dilutions. I said, but wait a second, this is a food supplement. This should be able to be soluble in water itself. So I said, let's put a glass of water next to it with only water. And then you see clearly that some of these products, although they have a negative pH in the form of acidic pH,
An acidic pH,
that they didn't do,
negative, yeah.
that he didn't do anything. You see just the same reaction as in water. Some of them start this fizzing, so there's actually a chemical reaction, but after that fizzing, you immediately see that the pH level has risen so high that after that contact with that contamination, the shampoo is not doing anything anymore.
Okay.
So you then get the idea that you have to repeat this operation so many times to get to that decontamination result. And what we wanted to show was that with a large amount of minerals in this form, calcium, a food supplement that is not in that amount on the car, there's a mixture. Because yes, iron is also a mineral, but iron is not able to be removed by purifica. For that we need something with an
iron remover.
An iron remover,
yep.
But still not all the minerals. But the most common minerals coming from the rain and the water that's inside of them. And therefore showing that even in contact with that contamination, the product is still working and the acidic pH is still there, meaning that product can still be used on the car and still be very successful. Whilst the other products rose so much that some of them end in the early 8th pH, so they were turning into an alkaline solution, meaning that they don't do anything. So basically, there was typical product that says, yes, we are acidic, but we don't work on acidic type of contamination in the form of minerals.
Okay, so the difference is you also did a test which is also based on a simplification of the reality, because we will never have as thick as a mineral deposit on our cars as a calcium tablet. But, and that for me is the difference, you did it in a proper way. And you also, I think you mentioned in the video the limitations of that test. You said that it is a simplification of reality. That it only gives us an indication of what happens on the paint. And that's the difference, because you guys thought about what happens there. It is a realistic simulation of reality. And what we saw in that ONR experiment was just chemically and physically not what they tried to explain to us. It was separation and not encapsulation. Yeah,
because if you look at the encapsulation, the definition, and how it works with the micelles of the parts, I've read an article in the Pro Detailer magazine where how the surfactants are working, and they visualize it very nicely. There you can see how something is being encapsulated by many of these polymers or these surfactants. But the encapsulation stated in the video shows only separation. Something is either lighter than water or heavier than water, so it's either going to change that's like air. Helium is going to drop, only helium is going to rise, and argon is going to drop because it's heavier than air.
I have actually seen encapsulation.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have also seen it. Typically, if you have a very hydrophobic protective product on your paint, you will have an occasion where you see a water droplet sitting on your car, and inside that water droplet, there's a piece of dirt.
Yeah.
That is encapsulation per definition. You have
a very nice shot
a piece of dirt with water around it. But I don't see that happening with any rinseless wash product. I just don't.
Some tests are so far, so let's take the example, if we are testing for wash resistance, then we are testing with a chemical, strong caustic chemical, with a low, very high abrasive wash medium, and then we are going to forcefully wash with a shampoo that is still designed to go on a car, but doesn't reflect anything that's happening on the street. So your tests are going to be a set of tests that you want to achieve, and then there will be things that you cannot think of because there will be unique situations where you cannot simply not test for, because you will spend years and years and years for testing, and by that time your product will be obsolete because the development will be so fast. So the speed of the development versus the testing and the limitations of the testing, until which climate are we going to test?
Yep.
Right now, because of the demand of easy and forgiving products, people are pushing the limit of the paint temperature so much that they want to be able to wash their car when it's in the middle of the desert with 90 degrees Celsius on the paint.
True.
And they are forcing manufacturers to create products that can either do this but will not have any performance, because at one point do we say it's enough? I mean, does a ceramic coating need to be able to be applied in -25? I don't think that's relevant, because you cannot put that ceramic coating on, but people will start to demand for stuff like this. Yep. So what limit are we going to set? Are we going to set a temperature limit from 5 degrees to 25 degrees? Or are we going to extend to 50 degrees? Depending on where you're developing these products. We do internationally. We send to the Middle East, we send to Asia, we send to Sweden, we send to Europe, everywhere the products are going. So we test as many as we can. But again, there's also the limitations of how far do we want to test. And then are these tests even relevant? Because the visualization, there's a very good video of the chemist of G-Technic, and I don't know him personally, but I can read his body language, and he's being asked to simplify with drawings how a ceramic coating bondage is going on the car. And you could almost see the sigh in his face. How am I going to explain this to these people, because they don't have, and you see him drawing, he makes a perfect visualization of what's going on, simplification. But is that actually what is happening? No, it's much more complex. Yeah. And the chemist knows this is much more complex. It doesn't even reflect, but to give you an idea what is happening, you are not going to see 10,000 of 1,000 nanoparticles stacked upon each other to make 1 micron of thickness. No. You will hear this through visualization with these hexagons, with the components next to it, and then we assume, because this guy has the degree, that what he's saying is actually the truth. And that is just one part of the test. How do they test for those duration? How do they state 5 years, 6 years, 7 years? If the product born last year, how can they state these things? And there also are tests to simulate outside weather conditions, where you can then state that in that test the coating survived so long in a certain terrarium. You have the corrosion test, where they treat a certain piece of metal with the coating, they put it in a terrarium type of an aquarium. It's humid inside, it's warm inside, and they keep spraying a saline salt solution on it, and then repeating that after so many times. The salt has to have a certain degree of salt inside, a certain percentage in the liquid, and then 1 hour in that terrarium or aquarium is then equal to 1 week outside.
I see.
So they can do 24 hours, and then we'll say, okay, it survived 24 hours against corrosion. It doesn't test for wash resistant, chemical resistance.
Just corrosion.
Just impact resistant, thermodynamics and everything, just corrosion. So then they say, okay, we achieved 4 months in that terrarium, times 24 is that, oh, we have 8 years.
And
there we go.
Again, that, if you would film that and show it to people, it would make for a very good video. And then you can end the video by saying, we did all those tests in order to come up with our 8-year durability claim for this new coating. Yeah. But is that, I mean, the testing is proper, but is the fact that you're putting it on video and use it to somewhat argue that you have done proper testing to come up with that durability number, is that already on the border to showboating then?
Very close. I think 8 months of testing in one part of the country or in one country itself is not enough. It's a joke. It's compared to what would we, it makes my job look like I'm an idiot, because we are testing so long.
It is an indicator. It is one indicator for the durability or the resistancy of a coating. One of many.
Real life, officially you would say, okay, we make a ceramic today. We send the ceramic to 7 different countries, 7 different people apply it on 7 different cars, drive around for 7 different years.
And then we look at how the cars behave.
And then we will say, after 7 years, this is the end data. But like I said, in nano world, there will be 4 or 5 upgrades with new particles, and you would be behind. So speed versus how far are you willing to go to test, in which parameters would you like to stop, and how much of the test you see is actually based on what's happening in your real life situation.
Plus, if we would look at those cars after 7 years, if the test would be done properly, they would not apply the coating to the whole car, but one side of a hood, for example. And then you maybe could see a difference in the hydrophobic behavior between one side and the other of the hood, but it would probably not be the same beading as on day one. Yeah. And that's already one issue. No coating manufacturer would show that, or they would maybe show that, but not the comparison to day one. So they would have to admit that, yes, it maybe lasts 7 years, but that the hydrophobics after 7 years are shit.
Yeah,
and no one would be happy with those hydrophobics anymore.
What does it say if you have a video being made about the installation of a product? The product states there's a certain duration, 1 year, or 2 years, 3 years, doesn't matter. And you get, next week you get a video with the 1 week update. The 1 week update for something that should survive for years. 1 week update. And we never see these tests end in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months.
We have seen that. 1 week update and everything is good, and then they say, that's good, it will last for...
And then after a year, you get the video after a year. This is the ceramic coating after a year.
Yep.
I'm not asking questions about, did you apply any toppers? Did you apply any drying aids? Did you apply
anything wash it?
Other? What type of shampoo? So many variables, that's one. And then they show a part that is not being hammered as much, exactly, say, the hood and the roof. Yeah. They show the performance on the hood and on the roof, and then say, look how amazing this is. But they don't show the rest of the car, because behind the wheels becomes interesting to say that surviving there in that country over the year, that is impressive.
Exactly. To be fair to Pan, because I'm usually rather critical with him, he does that. He often publishes videos with 1 year, 2 year, I think even 3 year updates of coatings he applied to cars. Respect to him, that's a good thing he does. Absolutely.
Okay, but I don't trust anybody, especially digitally, until I have proven it for myself. So in this industry, assumption is my biggest killer. I'm never doing it until I see it with my naked eyes. Just as I've said that rinseless, you cannot do a damage-free rinseless wash. Until I've seen it happen in front of my eyes, with the most meticulous method I've ever seen in my life, doesn't even count as a car wash anymore. You're surgically removing dust at a level that it's insane. But is it possible? Yeah, I've seen it. There was no collateral extra damage. The car didn't turn into anything more worse. It stayed the same, or it was not visibly damaged at all. So I could say that it is possible to do a rinseless wash without damaging the surface.
I mean, you were the one who told me this. And I still find it very, very fascinating, because I don't think anyone realizes this or knows this. So that goes back to you, what I say now. Rinseless washes, if you look at the safety data sheets, and they usually state the water content of those solutions.
Yeah.
And if you look at the most popular ones, they state it's 80 to 100% water in those, in the concentrates. So,
in the concentrates.
In the concentrates. So let's say 90% of what you buy from a bottle of rinseless is water. That means if you dilute that 1/256, you end up with, in a 5 liter bucket of water, you end up with 20 milliliters of product in there. And of those 20 milliliters, 90% is water. So a rinseless solution that you have in your bucket is factually 99.7% water. And just let that sink in for a minute.
That for me is already sunk in.
99.7% of what you have in your rinseless bucket is factually water. Now, we don't say that it doesn't do anything, because if you test it, yes, sometimes it feels slicker. And with your rinseless, the HydroSafe, I can see that the surface changes. It becomes slicker and it becomes hydrophobic. I can see that. So there are concentrated chemicals which can have huge effects even at those concentration levels. But the fact is, you have 99.7% of water in that bucket.
Yeah. Yeah, most of the time it's because I'm very interested, so I read a lot of these MSDSs, and I also like to go to strong concentrated products to the density of the product.
Yeah.
And anybody that has seen the tours in the factory sees that sometimes these jerry cans of 25 liters are only 70% full. And they said, why are you not filling full? Because the limit of that jerry can is 25 kilos. And it could be even that we have to go back to 20 kilos because the workers' law is going to change, so they can lift even less. So 20 kilograms of product is then allowed to go in a 25 liter drum, and then you will see that there's a lot less because the density, the liter of that product weighs more than 1 kilo.
Because 25 liters of water would weigh 25 kilos.
But a cleaner like Supermafrasol has a higher density, so 1 liter weighs 1.136 kilos, something like that.
So you know there has to be more in it than water, you know.
Yes, because it's more heavy than water. And the heavier it becomes, the more anybody that has ever felt a bottle of Semper feels that it's not 500 grams.
Semper is your pH neutral shampoo.
Yeah.
Exactly. Car shampoos usually, if they have 500 milliliters, they usually, or let's say most of the times, are heavier than those 500 grams.
And then you know you have a lot of ingredients. It's the same as for soup. The more you throw into a soup, the more it becomes something else than the soup, but it's no longer water. You get the flavor, the taste, the color, and the density.
Yeah, because I know for a fact people will now say, yeah, but you also only putting 20 milliliters of shampoo into a 5-liter bucket, and shampoo also contains water. That's true.
Yeah, and the quick detail.
But I think a shampoo is higher concentrated.
APCs are also very liquid. So you can put a little bit of chemistry inside and making something very potent. That's definitely possible. But there is no APC in the world that's being diluted 1 to 256. At least not to my knowledge. Sorry, I don't want to shoot anybody in the foot. Maybe somebody's already finding a resistance that is dilutable 1 to 256.
I repeat, because I find this number fascinating, 99.7% of water. That's what you're washing your car with.
And my calculation was even worse. I came to 99.94% of water, 0.06%.
Maybe you're right and I did my calculations wrong.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's more than 99% of water.
It's a lot of water, at least. A lot of water. A lot of water. And with that should also come the expectations of what potentially a product like that, based on the facts, not on the beliefs of encapsulation, separation, emulsification, lubrification, all these things together. They need to be told so many times, but there is no physical proof to them. That's why testing. Testing means you are going to test the truth or the description or the performance of the product. You're going to say, if they say it's safe on the surface, you're going to test that, you're going to try to contradict that safety for the surface. You're going to put it on aluminum, see if it burns. That already means you destroyed their claims. The potential performance of the duration, following the rules, of course, first. Make the description of the product your own and make that product first. But the most of the time people say, I'm going to test this product. And the only thing I see is you're trying it. You're just trying. You're putting it on, wiping it off, try it. You are exactly doing what has been stated. If you test something, you are going to achieve something during that test. You are going to share those findings. So those findings should be repeatable by anybody else. And they should come to the same result. If not, then the test has failed. Then you have done a finding that has been disproven by somebody else. So if I create a product together with the factory and I state all these things, then I ship out the product to somebody else. I've asked you now to test the product. I've stated some things that this product could be able to do. You are going to verify or disprove them. That is going to make me say to the lab, okay, we have to change this because this is what I found, this is what he found. He used the same parameters as I did. He was in similar conditions as I did. The results should be roughly the same. We have a night and day difference. There is a mistake. Something is wrong. We have to continue and start redeveloping.
And you've just created, without us planning this, the perfect transition where we can give you 2 very good examples for that. But when I first visited you guys, we did a video together on Veritas, your panel wipe or degreaser. And you told me that Veritas used neat is able to remove freshly applied ceramic coatings.
Up to 24 hours.
Exactly. And I took that information, we included that in the video, and then I went home, and when I was at home and when I was editing the video, I thought to myself, that's just a claim, let's test it. And then I applied, I think, 5 different ceramic coatings to a test panel, let them cure different times, and then I tried to remove them with Veritas. And I found, I think, 1 of the 5 coatings it was not able to remove. And then I concluded the video with saying it is able to remove most or some ceramic coatings, but not all of them.
Nope. After 24 hours, most of the ceramic coatings are unable to be removed, because if they are chemically protected, if it's chemically resistant, it should be able to be resistant against a solvent like that. If it's not, we immediately prove that it's not chemically resistant.
Exactly. And that was an important additional test I did, where I took your claim and said, let's test it, independent of what our relationship is, independent of how much I like you or don't like you. A claim is a claim, and a claim needs to be tested. And that brings me to the second one. Most listeners will probably say not again, but it is so important. These stupid claims by some brands that they put out a quick detailer or topper that you can apply on top of any other protective product, and it creates slickness and gloss, but does not affect the underlying hydrophobics of the underlying product. It's so easy to test that. And once again, I'm not afraid of telling names. Pan does not do that. And John from the Forensic Detailing channel, who I usually like very much, and I adore his testing methods, with that specific product, I think it was a PNS product, he did not test it. It's so easy. Apply a ceramic coating to a hood, tape off a rectangle, apply the topper inside that rectangle, remove the tape, and if the claims of those brands is true, you should not see a change in hydrophobics.
Exactly.
And I can absolutely guarantee you that you will see a change in hydrophobics.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter if this change is only there for a few days. If it is there for a few days, then this claim by that brand is just factually wrong.
Yep.
It's factually wrong, and it's so easy to test. And that's my biggest gripe with some of those testers and videos and reviews, when they just blindly repeat what the manufacturers tell them.
You should go fully against, you should try to disprove them. As soon as you can disprove them and you have digital evidence and you tag them in that video, and more and more people pick this up and repeat that test, they have no other choice than to revise their product.
Or the claim.
Or improve it into something else. This is how we get pushed.
Yep.
This is how we get pushed to make better products. If the people become more demanding,
or stop putting out stupid claims.
Yeah, because the disease going around in the detailing industry now is the virus called mediocrity.
Claim-based marketing.
Very simple, basic products that don't do anything special than the other majority of the products, but need to be exclamated so much by so many people saying the same things in the same. It's very good for SEO. I have to give them that. But challenge it, challenge durations, and then kick the living shit out of these fucking. Make sure that make sure that these manufacturers get to know that these claims that they state are absolutely not true, because for example, author promises about ceramic coatings. I have never got a phone call by a customer of any of our detailers that has applied the ceramic coating that was disappointed by the result of the promise being made on the bottle. Never ever have I been called by any of these customers, hey, your ceramic coating is shit. No, they have always been wending to the detailer. Where the detailer got blamed, but you promised me it was going to be scratch resistant. You promised me it was going to clean itself. You promised me it's going to last for 100 years. You promised me warranty, you promised. That trust that you destroy based out of assumption that what is on that bottle is actually true, because it's just a clear liquid, as we can see. That means that you have not thoroughly tested it. I also hate it when our detailers get an education and training and they get a kit to take home and they immediately put it on a customer's car, without proving that what I said was true and that we're in that nice condition where you were being pampered with food and nice time and other people, and you don't confirm the things that I have said. You always have to challenge me, because I could be biased. I am biased. I am not objective enough. I am standing so much behind these products that it's very difficult to impress me with anything else.
You know what hinders them? Probably, in which situation you cannot do that if you're paid by that brand to advertise the product. Then you, of course, need to repeat the claims and cannot critically test them.
No. I wish, I swear to God, I'm slowly being forced in this position, but I will have to start a YouTube channel where I'm also going to do chemical resistant tests, how we do it. And I will show you exactly how I do it. I will not mention the product, but I will make sure that there's some fucking hints in there that you know by the hints that I tell which product it is. Because I am literally, you discussed it to me a couple of weeks ago. You said something, it stuck to me for now. It's not about speaking the truth anymore. It's not about helping each other anymore. It's simply about who can sell their bullshit the best.
Yep.
And that made me even think, why are we doing this? Why aren't we trying to help the people, or to at least give the people some food for thought, to change your mind into what you are doing right now and improving into something better?
Absolutely. It's frustrating at times.
Without a product attached to
it.
Because everybody knows the training I give is generalized. The information I take, you can apply to any different, the technique I teach you, the things how to look at these products, you can apply to any existing product. and make your own findings based out of that little bit of knowledge that I give you.
Yeah, absolutely. And to extend on that, that's the other example I want to talk about. Once again, Geon. I'm not a Geon hater. Let's stop at that. Can you name a few good Geon products? Because I can. CanCode is a fantastically light and easy to use coating.
Geon Bath.
Geon Bath is a fantastic shampoo.
Geon Wet Coat.
Geon Wet Coat is one of the best, if not the best, spray and rinse type products. Geon Iron is one of the best, if not the best, iron remover. Many more. The tire cleaner works really well. Geon Rim is a really good consumer grade wheel coating. Geon Trim is a very good trim coating. They have fantastic products. So now I can hate again, because they put out a video in which they showed that it was a white Tesla leather, which is very well known for jeans and dye transfer. They applied their ceramic leather coating on there, let it cure, and then they put on ketchup on the seat, let it there for 20 minutes, they said, and then they wiped it away without any stain whatsoever. And that, if you just look at the video alone, it looks very good. It looks like the coating did that. I then did a video in which I showed with an actual piece of leather, after talking to Herwig Grabner from Lederwachs, that I can also do exactly the same thing with uncoated leather. I first didn't understand it, because I put it on uncoated leather, 20 minutes, wiped it away, no stain. I then put it on for an hour, wiped it away, no stain. I then left it there for 3 days, and it still didn't stain the leather. I didn't understand that. And then I called Herwig, and Herwig explained to me, yeah, well, that's not a surprise, because every tannery gets a directive from car manufacturers that the leathers they produce have to be resistant to certain stains, coffee stains, and also ketchup stains. There is such a thing in the leather industry which is called ketchup resistancy.
And that is a standardization based for the manufacturers that wants those leathers.
Yep.
That is a standardization. Yeah.
So once again, that's the difference between testing and showboating. Testing would have been only applying that leather coating to one side of the leather, putting the ketchup on both sides, wipe away and show that the stain is on the uncoated one, and the stain is not there on the coated one. That would have been a test.
Always a control piece, always.
Reference section. And the reason why GN didn't do that, maybe they did and they found out there is no stain. And that is such a perfect example of showboating and not proper testing. It's fooling people into believing that a product does something amazing, when in fact it does nothing more than bare leather.
Soon I will make some, I will show you some product development tests without naming products. The reason I've not been doing this for the last year is because last year because there are many product hooligans in the detailing industry. They don't care about detailing.
Product hooligans. That's
they don't care about detailing. They really don't care about detailing. They only care about
fanboys.
The products. The product about detailing. The smell, the gloss, the slick.
Product hooligans.
Product hooligans, like Ultras from Amsterdam versus Rotterdam, Ajax versus Feyenoord. This kind of hooligans that just hunting for new products.
That term.
Yeah, and
we should do T-shirts with that term, product hooligans.
Because of those people, and I appreciate them wanting those products very much, but the questions, when is it coming out, what is it for, I need it, those kind of things, that's why I can't make these videos anymore. But now people just claiming that they did extensive testing without showing any proof. Okay, I will be the one and I will start providing you with some proof. I already have some footage that I have been collecting over the last year that I can give with some explanation, probably with some voiceover inside, and I'll show you some time lapses of certain self-cleaning aspects of ceramic coatings that we have tested with different types of liquid. Oleophobicity, for example. Have you ever seen an oleophobic surface? A self-cleaning oleophobic surface. Ever seen something like that being done? They say it because hydrophobic and oleophobic go hand in hand with each other.
Not necessarily.
So definitely yes, because if it's oleophobic, it means it's better self-cleaning than hydrophobic. Because oil has a higher viscosity. If oil is able to run off the surface without any marks left behind, meaning it's better in self-cleaning than water
Yeah.
because of the density and the viscosity.
Yeah.
We will debate what type of oil. I mean, you can imagine that we have the olive oil. That is, of course, a little bit different than the engine oil.
Probably.
But I will definitely show some stuff like this. I know a couple of those videos where I do these wash-resistant tests. And if people start forcing me, if you keep threatening me, people, I will show the brands as well. I put the brands next to it. I put the names, everything. I don't care anymore. I'm literally at this point
me
anymore.
Neither. I had a case this year where I published a video in which a product from a certain brand did not well, especially compared to the claims that they put out, and the owner threatened to sue me. It did not happen until today, so it probably was just a threat, but what people have to understand with us too is we are not being bullied.
No,
you cannot bully us. You cannot try to get us out of what we are doing.
No,
We are speaking. This is a mission for us. We want this industry to be a better place, and we will not stop.
No, there's nothing. I'm not going to lose hope about this, because in the long run, the truth will always win. Always.
Exactly.
The truth will always come out. With the lies. The most difficult thing is keeping a lie alive. You say a lie, and then you have to keep the lie exactly as it is. If it's the truth, you're not going to deviate from any details. If it's a lie, you might deviate from the details.
And to, I mean, that's now an offer I make, and we always try to end these episodes with something positive, because we are mostly rambling about, and it starts always with a controversial one, and we always try to end it positively, because our goal is to make this industry a better place. And here's an offer for every brand out there. If you are creating videos or pictures or stories, you can send me them in advance. I have a look at them, and I tell you if I see something that is showboating or critical in my opinion. I will not do that for free, but we will find a fair price for it, and we will try to make better videos for you. If you're Gion, this also accounts for you. If you're Mastersons, this also accounts for you. I will do that. But let's try to make the detailing world a better place. Let's stop these showboating videos, and let's make proper testing videos in which there is a way in which every brand out there can make their products look good without lying, without deceiving, without showboating.
I appreciate the truth very much. I appreciate the feedback of the people I ask. I don't ask many people to test products anymore, because the things that I get from the test is not the things that I'm looking for. I cannot put emotions in bottles. The chemist is going to punch me in the face if I bring excitement, euphoric, fear. It's difficult to put these stuff in products. So I got happy this year. A big group is added to the testers. We are working more closely together, so we probably can put out faster, newer products.
You know what you could do? What probably many would do. You could invite them to Italy, because Italy is an amazing place. You have good food and stuff, and you do testing days live at your place, because then you can control the environment, you can control the circumstances, and that would probably lead to better results. Testing days.
Testing
that would
days
be interesting.
Would be fantastic. We have done a trial run very recently, and I'm very much looking forward to the data coming back from that, because it's a suggestion. People that I ask for testing are not being compensated financially. I'm simply searching for the bad things or the things that we need to improve from the product.
You can compensate them with food.
I would say if that studio gets finished anytime in the near century, then we will have the opportunity to invite more and more people over and to visit us from the factory, and then maybe I can reduce my visitations to other countries as much, because I'm literally becoming a little bit demotivated for my first trip in 2025, starting in Milan, going to New Delhi, flying to Sydney, then go to Milan for 3 days, and then fly to Orlando. So I will go into the jet death, not the jet lag, but the jet death. And I would rather that these people come with their jet lag to Milan, and I take care of them for a couple of days with some good food, hospitality, and some freaking detailing passion with amazing products. A little bit of Marco in there, like this, a little bit like this, and we'll have some fantastic times. Just like I had with the Dutch guys last week. That was fantastic.
You know what we should do, maybe? In the movie industry, there's a thing that's called the Oscars, where they celebrate good examples of movies, but there's also something called the In German it's die goldene Himbeere. Die
Haribo, de Himbeere, meinst du den?
Where they punish bad movies and they're also giving out a prize. What's it in English?
The
golden strawberry, the golden raspberry.
I forgot, but it's
something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe we have to do that with detailing videos as well, celebrating the good ones, giving them an Oscar, and punishing and naming the bad ones. And
you just gave me an idea. I'm going to start a new video series where I'm going to comment on people testing products.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Slicing them down, and then that's what I'm going to do.
And yeah, maybe Gian will get a package from me soon with a golden raspberry. Maybe. Let's see.
Keep doing what you're doing, Gian. 100%.
Gian, I believe in you that you're good, guys, and you have fantastic products.
Numbers don't lie, people.
Yeah.
Numbers do not lie. And the numbers say that Gian is doing pretty good.
And aside from the products, Gian does some amazing things. I think their branding is fantastic, their marketing is fantastic, their packaging is absolutely amazing.
Mind-blowing standard.
Their support for their dealers and professional detailers is second to none.
Very well structured, yes.
Gian does some amazing things, but Gian does also some nonsense.
I wonder how much is the responsibility of the people that made the product versus the marketing people that are promoting the product.
That's such a good point. Is it always the fault of the marketing people?
Not always, but I can imagine that they are being
so.
Forced into a position that they have,
maybe.
Let's say a product that's called liquid bullshit, and they have to turn it into something heavenly. That the marketing campaign leader would have some issues trying to make this product look good and deviate from the performance of the product into the packaging, the labeling, the scent, the smell, and the gloss and slickness.
Maybe. I mean, I studied marketing at university, so I have a bit of pride in what I do and this field of work. But yeah, I think we talked about it often in the past. This fight between product development, the chemists, and the marketing people. Yeah, and you hear that constantly from other brands, from other influencers. There seems to be a mismatch. And you know where this mismatch does not happen? When there are companies and brands which are set up like you guys are, where you have either a linking person like you, which links the chemists and the marketing people, or they have chemists which then go into the marketing department. In these companies, it doesn't happen.
I think they always should have a part. I think when you make a new product, you always should have a part of the guys actually making the product. So Giacomo and Ricardo should always have a little segment, even if it's a couple of seconds, where you start. This is the start. Maybe you start with a picture of Marco's brain. Then you see this light bulb, ping. Now that's the idea. Then you see the two chemists taking that idea from Marco's head onto a piece of paper. They start blending and mixing. They give it to me and Fabio. We test it and then we send it to the details, and you get a very nice product development video. How it came to be.
You know what? We will do something different today. Thank you for listening. If you listened, thanks. If you watched the video, thank you too. Thank you, Reggy, very much. But we will end this episode with an open-ended question. Maybe the issue is only with brands which don't create their own product, but just get them from a blender, and then all they do, all the jobs in that brand or company is to do marketing. And we will leave it at that. That's something you guys can think about. Maybe it's just those brands. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.
Ciao. That's actually very good. That's very good. That's very good. Yeah, we have something. Now we have to make it look good.